Hello, and welcome back to another ShantyTown devlog. Let's see how we went from where we left off to what the game looks like now. But first, I have something to admit.
Okay, I ate a baby toad once.
No, not that. You may know this, but when working on a new project, it's very empowering at the start and you feel like you can do anything, making huge chunks of progress in a short amount of time. Then you enter what I call the Doldrums, where you start to realize the immense amount of work ahead of you, and every little task looks overwhelming. This is where I'm at the moment, and I believe this is the point that separates completed games from prototypes. Buckling down and pushing onwards is the only way to continue progress. What helps me is making a list of what needs to be done, and then just picking something on the list to do.
Write that down, write that down!
Once you break the cycle, then you can prioritize again. To get inspired, I decided to look at more concept art. And kept coming back to a stylized digital painter look. I also decided to work on foliage. Even though this is an urban environment, it will add a lot of charm. I started by making some simple plants the way I did in Kainga, but rotated the normals upward to give the foliage a stylized look. It looks alright, and I'm sure it could be improved further, but I did some research and I found a new way to make bushy foliage. Basically, you make the shape of your plants, and then you reshape it into evenly sized squares using the QuadriFlow remesh. Then, you reset the UVs so each square is using the whole UV. In Unreal, when you add a material, it looks terrible. But then, we basically scale up each square so they overlap, and suddenly, it starts looking pretty good. The best part is, you can do this to any shape really, and it just works.
All of this just works. It's not, I'm not kidding.
Added some wind, and boom, a convincing looking tree. I also spent a lot of time to try to improve the lighting to create a basic test scene that looks more than a prototype. This is what I came up with. There's still room for improvement, but it's looking better. Something small I did that I knew was going to get done eventually was to add a vertical gradient so surfaces don't look so flat. I found a pretty cool way to add the gradient at the bottom of the mesh, no matter what mesh it is, and I don't have to manually add each object's height. But then I had to add an exception for stacked buildings to keep them looking uniform.
Alright, sorry for the sound change, I got real sick. The next thing I wanted to do was to address some feedback I got with recent playtests. Understandably, people were having trouble knowing where points are coming from between different objects. A while ago, I did add tooltips on both the packs and the object buttons to display what kind of bonuses each object gets. But I wanted to try something a bit more visual. I tried two different things to indicate which nearby objects are being affected while trying to place something. First, I tried a highlight, and then I tried an outline. But I don't think either really helped solve the problem, so this is something I'll have to think about further. If you notice the placing spheres now look pretty awesome, that's because I added a Fresnel. A
Fresnel.
Really? I simply added a Fresnel to the material and voila, it looks great. In this time, I've also been working hard on Kainga's new update, which is just around the corner, and it turned out much bigger than I thought it would. I created a trailer and it's all ready to go for next week. With that update out the door, I now have additional time to put towards ShantyTown. It's been about a month since the last devlog, and not too much is different, although it's looking much better. Let's see how things progress from here on. As before, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.